Hey, what's up, everybody? Let's get the week off to a great start. It's a day and a week like every other week here in Estados Unidos. Teachers in San Diego are forced to attend white privilege training, where they are told they're racist and asked to commit to becoming anti-racist activists. It wouldn't be another day, another week, another month, or a year if there weren't some group of people trying to take a dump on another group of people in the US, baby. Training is mandatory for all teachers. Within San Diego Unified School District, teachers are reportedly asked to discuss how they would feel if they are called racist and asked to acknowledge that they meet on stolen land. Yeah. Teachers are also reportedly asked to commit to becoming anti-racist activists. So, initial thought, and I haven't read through the article, I just kind of skimmed through it. You're telling me that their job isn't to become teachers anymore, that they're now asked to become activists. Interesting. Well, let's see what it says. Let's not jump to any conclusions. Teachers in San Diego are reportedly being required to attend a white privilege training in which they are asked to commit to becoming anti-racist and acknowledge that they meet on stolen land taken from Indigenous peoples. Question, do non-white individuals have to attend as well? And Indigenous, by the very definition of the term, synonymous with Native, would be any individual born here in the United States. I'm Indigenous. I'm Native to America. Interesting. Maybe I can opt out since I'm Indigenous as well. According to the documents shared by journalist Christopher F. Rufo, the training is mandatory for all teachers within the SDUSD, so all teachers. As part of the training, teachers are told to discuss how they would feel if they were told, "You are a racist." Teachers were also asked to discuss how they'd feel if they were told, "You are upholding racist ideas, structures, and policies." The documents, which were leaked by Rufo, show the outline of the discussion and the talking points, including how teachers must become anti-racist activists. Looks like we've got a slide here. You are racist. In the chat, try to use one word to answer the question. How would this make you feel? How about this word? And we're going to mesh it together. It's not one word, but not give a fuck. Not give a fuck. Not give a fuck. Think to yourself, what would you want to say to someone who tells you this? I'd say, whatever helps you sleep at night. You are upholding racist ideas, structures, and policies. In the chat, try to use one word to answer the question. How would this make you feel? Again, not giving a fuck. That's one word. Just mash it all together. Think to yourself, what would you want to say to someone who tells you this? Again, whatever helps you sleep at night. White fragility, emotions, racial stress that are stirred when making white people consider racial realities. Guilt, anger, apathy, frustration, closed-mindedness, divisiveness. Prevents us from having racial dialogue. We haven't had to build racial stamina from rarely having conversations about race. Do you ever notice how they always say, oh, we need to start a dialogue, or we need to have these conversations, and they use it for a lot of different things in life. It can be related to race, gender, equity, pick any topic, police brutality. But do you ever notice how they say, we need to start the dialogue and have a conversation? And I'm sitting here like, motherfucker, we've been having this dialogue nonstop for 10 fucking years. What do you mean we need to have a dialogue? What do you mean we don't talk about it? It's all everyone talks about in the media. It's all you hear in the media about how racist everyone is, how phobic, how ism everybody is. It's like saying there's no widespread voter fraud, right? What is your definition of widespread? Same here. It's like saying, well, we need to start the conversation. We started the conversation and had the conversation 50 million times, so much so that I tune it out and I'm bored by it by now. I don't know, call me crazy. Turns race into the R word. It is a powerful means of white racial control and the protection of white advantage. And then they use that scumbag who wrote that book, White Fragility. So they're really pushing her book hard, huh? Wow, she must be loving that. Book sales through the roof, baby. In order to do this, teachers have to confront and examine their white privilege and acknowledge white fragility and teach others to see their privilege. During the session, instructors inform teachers that they will experience guilt anger, apathy, and closed-mindedness due to their white fragility. Ah, yes, 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 yes. Shaming individuals. So even though everybody's required to attend, we're only making sure certain groups of people feel a certain way. Interesting. In addition to the aforementioned, the seminar also includes a section on land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we meet on stolen land, taken from indigenous peoples, conquered land. I'm speaking to you from Kumeyaay land. We must acknowledge the hidden history of violence against indigenous peoples and move forward towards justice. One slide reads, the acknowledgement was referring to the Kumeyaay tribe of indigenous peoples who were forced off their ancestral lands. They lived at the northern border of Baja California in Mexico and the southern border of California in the US. And like individuals on the contrary can always point to those individuals that claim to be native or indigenous to a certain area, how did they, or we should say, how did their ancestors get that land? Tribal factions were at war long before the white man came along. So you would have to go back and see who conquered who, all the way back to the beginning of recorded time. If they want to play that game, we can play that game. This is the United States, baby. Anybody who was born here is native. Anyone who's born here is indigenous. That's all. And all of the individuals who migrated here, naturalized here, come on, baby. You're with us. We'll throw you in the native and indigenous category as well. If you're an American, this is your land. Doesn't matter who you are, where you came from. That's how I see it. So any of these groups out here trying to kiss ass, trying to demean other individuals, all to make money, this guy's not having it. I don't feel any kind of way when I see any of those slides. I'm like, as I said, whatever. Whatever helps them sleep at night, and I guess whatever helps them make money. But let's check out some of these slides here. This was the one I liked here about white privilege. My ability to thrive, not just survive in this country, is being preserved at every level of power without me having to do anything at all. I don't even have to vote. Interesting. So the 10 richest Americans, 100% are white. Okay, interesting. U.S. Congress, this was from 2016 to 17. They show that it used to be 90%, now it's down to 78. Governors, 96% white. Top military advisors, 100% white. President and vice president, 100% white. Now, if Biden gets in, they're going to have to change the slide to say 50% white and 50% whatever the F she feels like claiming in order to claim her victimhood card. So that would be overrepresentation, wouldn't it, in that regard, if it were only 50% white come January 20th? House Freedom Caucus, 99% white. The Squad, 0% white. U.S. Presidential Cabinet, 91% white. Teachers, they're 63% white in the SDUSD. Full-time college professors, 84% white. Now, doesn't that, you know what, and we can extrapolate a lot from this data as I'm going through this. Which shows we see, which books we read, which news is covered, yada, yada, yada. Which music is produced, 95% white. How about the artists? In certain genres, 0% white. That's not the point, though. The data that can be extrapolated here is people need to go and get further degrees. People need to educate themselves further to go on to become professors and teachers. More non-white people need to choose that as a profession. The statistics can be twisted in any kind of particular way. As you see in these slides, and as I just demonstrated myself, you can say one thing with the statistics. Oh, the president and vice president are 100% white. Well, the squad members are 0% white. Statistics can be used in any kind of way we want to make the point we're trying to make. But the bottom line seems to be career choice, if we're talking about teachers and professors specifically, because you're not going to tell me that there's some kind of system in place that keeps non-white individuals from becoming professors or teachers. And in fact, as we've seen in a lot of colleges, here's looking at you, Ivy Leaguers, discrimination is not only tolerated, it's encouraged at a systemic level. They get away with it. The data is proven. We've seen the numbers. Certain individuals have to achieve less in high school to get into college. That's discrimination based on race. Interesting how that's been allowed to stand up. All right, let's take a quick look at a couple more slides here and then we'll go ahead and wrap this up. I think I've said my piece on it. I don't know how you feel about it. Diversity forced is a means of weakening a country. Diversity of thought, like my man S. Singh always says, no doubt. Diversity of thought is great. Forced diversity based on skin tone, it only leads to a weakened society and animosity towards a particular group. And it's towards both groups. It's those getting the advantage and those getting shit on. Who wants to continually be shit on, right? It's interesting how most of the time, seemingly, it's rich white liberals who always put out this kind of curriculum, these books. They write about it in the media, social media, blog posts, newspapers, articles, wherever you want to say. It's always white liberals, wealthy elites that tell individuals how terrible they are. It's interesting how that works. Makes you wonder what their defect is that makes them feel like they're so much better than everyone else, that they can tell everybody else how terrible they are. Your action or inaction can be racist or anti-racist at any time, depending on what you choose or choose not to do. Again, same questions there in the chat. They say here what you can commit to do. Confront and examine your white privilege. Acknowledge when you feel white fragility happening for you, and slow down so you can listen, learn, and act. Be active, join, and give to the community. Keep on giving till it hurts, baby. Teach others to see their privilege. Read and educate yourself. Use your privilege. Examine norms and policies in your school and classroom. Learn the history of other ethnic groups other than your own. I'll just leave some of the comments here on the screen. I would just say this to conclude things. It's what happens when you get certain individuals in positions of power. And my feeling is always this. It's a way to create divisiveness for individuals to stay in power. I'm not going to point fingers at any particular gender, but it seems like if you, or race, but it seems like if you are able to point the finger at somebody else enough, you can kind of get everybody to pile on that particular group or class of individuals. We see it oftentimes with race, religion, preference, wealth class, whatever your societal status is. It's always, let's point the finger at somebody else. So I think it's just interesting how individuals kind of seemingly have mastered this technique of pointing the finger at somebody else. I don't know why that is. I don't know what the issue is. I don't know why it's always about deflection and hate, division. I don't know why that is here. Maybe somebody can explain it to me, but I don't know how they thought that this wasn't going to get out in public. And we'll see where this goes. We'll see how this turns out, because you can't, as I said earlier, keep taking a dump on certain groups of people and think that they're going to be okay with it. Sure, the wealthy elites at the top, the white liberals, leftists, maybe I should say, yeah, they'll be fine with taking a dump on everyone else below them in order to maintain their power. But the normal folk who know that this has nothing to do with them, to know that there's really no such thing as stolen land, to know that we're all indigenous, to know that they have nothing to do with anything that happened in the past. In other words, those individuals who aren't weak, they're not going to stand for this. Those are people who are just like you and me. We just want to go about our daily business, be cool with everybody, go to work, provide for our family, hang out with our friends, have some fun cracking jokes on the internet, watching some videos. So those are the kind of people I roll with, and I bet most of you do as well. But thanks for watching, everybody. Take care. Let me know what you think of this stuff. It can't be allowed to persist. They got to get rid of this stuff. And I know Trump tried to. It talks about that in the article, about how he tried to get rid of critical race theory in the education system. And that's the biggest crusher right there. And that's really going to warp the next generation of kids if they're forced to continually hear this stuff over and over again. So take care, everybody. Have a good week. Be well.